En mi anterior episodio había llegado a la fábrica de mis amigos los vietnamitas, donde me quedé unos días conviviendo con ellos. Ellos se lo pasan bomba viéndome comer con palillos. Yo estoy encantado con esta comida. Ya de paso hago las prácticas para cuando me toque ir a estos países saber usar los palillos.
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed?
Hoy, después de un montón de días de reposo, me vuelvo a poner mi armadura y me dispongo a luchar esta vez contra embajadas. Necesito 3 visas de mis siguientes 3 países. Vamos a ver qué problemita nos encontramos ahora. Estos días en la fábrica y conviviendo con esta familia de vietnamitas ha sido otra mega experiencia que me he hecho a la mochila. Seguimos sumando experiencias. Nos vamos dirección Yaoundé, hacia la capital. Para visitar embajadas he sacado de la maleta la ropa más decente que llevo, porque hay algunas embajadas que hasta para eso se ponen un poco complicadas. En Congo tocó rellenar un formulario, entregar un montón de fotocopias de papelitos y esperar 3 días. Visa de Congo lista. Vamos ahora por la de Gabón, a ver si es igual de rapidita que esta. Ahora me toca la embajada de Gabón, pero se me ha olvidado hacer la fotocopia. Voy a hacer fotocopia y vuelvo para acá. Esto tiene burocracia, ¿eh? Esto tiene su entretenimiento. Me toca hacer un montón de fotocopias de todos los papelitos, que si la vacuna, que si el visado, que si el pasaporte, reserva de hotel, reserva de avión, partida de nacimiento, un montón de papelitos. En la embajada de Gabón finalmente dejé una foto y todas las fotocopias que me pedían, pero me dieron cita para el día siguiente tramitar el tema de la visa, así que conservé un pasaporte. Finalmente no va a hacer falta. Cambio de planes de última hora. Esta mañana me escribió Tomás, el alemán, que le volví a adelantar aquí en Camerún, pero me ha vuelto a adelantar y ya va delante mía, acaba de cruzar a Congo. Me ha pasado el report de cómo están las carreteras y definitivamente no me interesa atravesar Gabón porque puedo encontrarme problemas. Así que voy a seguir sus pasos y en lugar de pasar Gabón, Congo, República Democrática del Congo, unas carreteras que yo pensaba que estaban impracticables, pues él me ha dicho que están mejor de lo que yo creía. Así que voy a intentar Congo, República Democrática del Congo, Angola. Me salto Guinea Ecuatorial y me salto Gabón. Así que ayer dejé toda la documentación en la embajada de Gabón, pero finalmente no voy a tramitar esa visa. Me he venido hoy a República Democrática del Congo. Ya tengo Congo, me falta esta y en el momento que la tenga arranco y continúo dirección sur. Vámonos de paseíto. República Democrática del Congo, mismo procedimiento. Dejar todas las fotocopias, una foto, el pasaporte, solo que en este caso me tocará esperar una semana. Mientras tanto, vamos a charlar un rato con mi amigo Stefan, a ver qué nos cuenta. Today we are here with Stefan, but you see, he's not from Cameroon. He's Vietnamese, and I don't have a right yet to Vietnam. I will go, but not yet. But he has been living here like how long?
Since 3 years.
3 years. Long time ago. I don't know how he do. I have been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I want to go for the next country urgently. You came to Cameroon. Why you choose Cameroon?
Because like one company Vietnamese.
One company Vietnamese means so many Cameroonians.
They hire me and they take care everything like paper, visa, fly, everything. Mm-hmm. So I just come here and it's make like me very interesting because I want to discover Africa. When I was in Europe, I don't have enough money to come here.
And you explain me something about like this company that contract you. You was here working.
Yeah.
But like the person that employed you didn't was giving you your value. Yeah. Then you say, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here. And you say one day, goodbye, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then you start your own business.
Yeah, like like I told you, that's like for me, I just want to come here for two reasons. The first reason that I want to have a little money to have my family. The second, I want to discover Africa. And when I'm in Cameroon, so I have a problem like my boss doesn't evaluate me like I know my value.
Didn't give you your value.
Yeah, I know my value. I know I don't want to show up, but I know my value because I learned so much from traveling and from university before. But like they given me the job that doesn't adapt to my capacity.
Yes.
So this thing I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to lose my time to do something that I can do mean like 1,000 better. So for me the job is good, but not my job I want to do, and I can do another thing that I can do better. So like the job may be for another person, but not for my class. That's all. Like
it was 3 years ago, more or less.
No, like I think like 2018, like August to 2000.
Oh, like 4 years ago.
I think like yeah.
And how old were you then? This is another important thing.
Like just like only stay for 6 months
in the company.
In the company, so I decided like I couldn't like lose my time.
But how old was you then?
I think
29?
No.
30?
No, like I think like 29.
29. 29 years in a very difficult country, Cameroon. For me, it's being like very difficult. I don't know how it's Vietnam, but if you compare Cameroon, you have been friends, that you know how difficult is Cameroon.
So
in everything, difficult in everything that you can imagine. And then you, with 29 years, come to work in a company. You see the company that you didn't like this work, and you say, "I continue alone." And then you start alone here in Cameroon.
So like,
how you did to have now 5 factories, 100 people working in each factory, 500 people working for him with 33 years.
So like for me, like to know that everything happened for something. Like it depends on what you have and depend on what you want, and it depends on what's your objective. So I decided to quit my job, and as you know, that's like the first time when every people go to Cameroon, we are very scared. Like
no, here, I understand.
Here for me, like 50 countries I've been traveling, but this country, no experience, no knowledge, no rule.
No rule.
No rule. No, like totally new world.
I can say my experience here. For me, it's the more bureaucratic country. Like everything have a rule for everything, but at the same time, the more corrupt country. Like it's something like not compatible. Like very difficult. The other thing that I wanted to ask you is how you did. Like start a business from zero with 29 years, because yes, you have a value, you have experience, you have studies, but you have only 29 years. How you do to have a business that starts from zero, and in short years, like 3-4 years, to have a company with 500 people working for you? How you do that?
So it's a big question.
It's a long question. Maybe we need 1 hour to explain, but.
It's a big question, like,
but it's important question because it's the thing that everyone wants to know. Like,
do you think that the first story, like, I can traveling, like, I can go to France for, like, my family didn't support me a lot. So I can go to France for study. I can traveling around like 50 countries from my small part-time job and summer job. By hitchhiking, by couchsurfing, by everything. So we need to find out solution for everything. And for me, the next story I want to create, to write in my life. Like how
it's important to point. Like because it's something strange from you that I like a lot. Like you he divide the life in histories. We have to, I told before, like study history, like the traveling history, and now we are in the theme history, that is like startups, like entrepreneur, like startup business.
So you need to set up like what kind of dimension of your business you want to build. You want to build. So when you get that, you need to put like in the project. I think I do in the project. In the project that limited the time and limited the objective. So you know what you want to go. And when you know the destination, now you looking as you start here. You have a your destination. So now how you make your road. How you lose your way to go there.
Like you have to find like the strategy. Like you say, I'm here. I want to arrive here.
Yeah, you know that strategy. Sometimes it's just only like you find out your road. You need to run.
Like watch all the variables in the way.
So for me, like from the starting, I'm very clear for my strategy. Like from the beginning until now, I want to change. I didn't change my strategy.
You didn't change?
No. The objective didn't change.
Never?
Objective never change.
No, never. Objective, okay. Never
Objectives don't change. Strategy don't change. But the plans you can change.
The plan you can change. And in relation with all of this that we are talking about a strategy, the plan, the objectives, that everything has to be like very clear. But how you do to arrive there, to start? Because you start from zero. How do you do?
I think I can do good with Cameroon people. And the message that I got when I take the bag to get out of company, I'm really clear that I need to work with Cameroon people. I need to support them because it's like my mission. Mission, like I'm very clear, you understand. So this way I find out my Cameroon partner. So when I find out the partner to work with them, I have a Chinese, I have a European, I have a Lebanon, and I have a Kenyan people. And I think that's like I was very curious to choose a Kenyan people because nobody believed that I can do, and even me, I'm not really convinced to me that I can be successful.
In that situation, you was like I was afraid, and now I start to work with Cameroon people.
I just started, and I put everything I have. Like you put everything to playing.
When
like,
you play poker, you call that all in.
All in, like you put all thing like with Cameroon people. But I was, because I have a destination. I know that to get this destination, and what I have now, I can do with Cameroon people to help them, and they help me, so we can go to a destination because like we don't have a money.
No, but the people have to understand about the Cameroon people. It's very difficult. Sometimes it's difficult. Like
many Vietnamese people and European people, they go with money here, and they finish the money and go back with the problem. And it's true that many Vietnamese people, they lost money in Africa, but I need to do it because I'm really clear that
you have to see by you.
And I want to change. I want to make the story that I believe that because when we're traveling a lot, we know that everywhere they have good people, and it's helped me a lot because like even one person to be successful with Cameroon partner, but I think that in our planet we have many good person. So because I had a lot of good experiences when I traveling, so I put every positive thing to one person to play this pocket, and I think I'm successful with this thing.
No, it's good. Then all that you do to start the business, find a good partner. Difficult because in all the options you have, you get the Cameroonese one.
Yeah.
Then after the strategy, the objective, and then you have to
action.
You have to Find a partner,
Yeah.
make an objective,
Yeah.
make a plan and a strategy. Y ahora viene la polémica. Para mí sería fácil decir por lo que todo el mundo quiere escuchar. Decir, pobrecitos, los bosques, nos vamos a quedar sin bosques, la tala, la no sé qué, la no sé cuánto. Yo he hablado con el propietario de la fábrica, tiene todos sus papelitos en regla y todo en orden. No hay nada ilegal en toda esta tala. A todos esos que critican tanto la tala, me gustaría entrar en sus casas y asegurarme de que ninguno de ellos tiene productos de madera, pero si no lo tienen de madera, no sé de qué otro material pueden tenerlo. Y punto número 2 y más importante. A todo el que critica toda esa tala, me gustaría que se preocuparan más en buscarle una solución a toda la gente que está viviendo de esto. Sí, todos dirán, sí, el empresario que se está beneficiando ya, pero es que hay 150 personas, que son 150 familias que están viviendo de esto. Y si no, pues habrá que buscarles una solución, ¿no? Porque tendrán que comer también y vivir. No son solo 150, son 150 más todo lo que hay detrás de esos 150. O sea, pueden estar viviendo 500 familias, porque estos comen y van al supermercado y van a... Y si no tienen esto, pues toda esa economía se termina acabando. Es mi opinión, cada uno tendrá su opinión sobre esto. Yo, de lo que he visto. Now comes the polemic thing. Everyone will think now that you are a bad person, and me are a bad person too, because I agree with you about what you are doing. Now is the polemic thing. To cut trees, sometimes some animals are living there where you cut the trees, and these animals have to find another places because you cut the tree. Yeah. Then other people, this is like a polemic thing that the thing that we are going to talk about now.
Yeah. You know, like.
And what you give back, and what you give back, I would like, because it's important thing. It's important thing.
But when I'm here, I was asking like why I do this thing. I don't understand. I didn't understand like why I'm in the forestry industry. So I was asking this question, and after like you know like I realized that like I have my answer, because what I think like everything in Cameroon is totally new for me. Mm-hmm. And even like in my knowledge, my perspective has changing every day. So when I go to the Cameroon, I see many problems in society. Mm-hmm. The people, they don't have a job. The people don't have a good condition of life. The people don't have a medical life. Today we work, and my employee like told me that like yesterday their children died.
Yeah.
And why?
Well,
like one of the people working for me, like the people die. I think that why your children die? Because they don't have a good in-depth medicine. They don't have a good hospital. So I was asking for me that's like for sure that cutting the tree is not good. But if I was in this worker, like I have my tree in my house, like in my garden, mm-hmm. and my children are dying.
Need food. You need food for your children.
Need medicine.
You cut the tree or not cut the tree?
Or not cut the tree.
You have to cut the tree.
Just there, no?
You have other options. Now 500 families depend from you. If you stop, you say, okay, yes, I understand. No cut more trees. What are they going? All these 500 families.
So
what option they have?
So you know, like I think my factory now, like it's not like 500, but I think the 400, mm-hmm. like something like this. I think. So why I told you I find the answer, because like for me like cutting the wood, yeah, not nice. But what I do in Cameroon, every people happy. Not every people, but a lot of people happy. Mm-hmm. A lot of authority supporting me. A lot of cheap village. They want that like I open the factory in their village. They give a forest. They give a good condition. Every authority support me, and every population.
This village developed
because they develop. Because we're talking about the development, we're talking about the economy, we're talking about society, we're talking about environment. Of course, that cutting wood affected environment, I agree that, but we are answer economy and society. Because I was like in my first project, I told you, was in Nanga. So that the city have nothing like die because we don't have activity. And when I opened this factory since like 15 years they was closing. So I opened this and changed totally the city. Every people agree that like they don't have any society problem. We don't have the thief, the young people working and arrest a lot of problem society in that thing. So I think I did something good.
You're giving something back. It's not only, okay, I arrive here, I put all the trees, I keep the money, and I go to my house. No, you're giving something back. Vamos a hacer una visita al aserradero, se llama, de mis amigos los vietnamitas. Pues esta es la primera parte del proceso. Aquí llegan los megatroncos estos y le dan los primeros cortes para poder meterlos en la fábrica y transformarlos. Aquí llegan los troncos cortados. El primer corte es con una motosierra y el segundo corte con esta máquina gigante. Aparentemente es una cosa súper básica y sencilla, pero no sé por qué me impresiona ver que con esta máquina tan sencilla cómo pueden hacer todos estos cortes. Y aquí vendría el final del proceso, dándole el corte ya a las medidas y grosores específicos. Y por último, todo este producto terminado serían madera en todos los tamaños, medidas, calidades, diferentes maderas. Producto terminado. Listo para enviar. I hope if in your history Spain is in your way, I hope the people in Spain receive and give you the same that you give to me. Thank you very much.
Okay,
and
thank
for
you.
sure, we will meet again in the route. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pues sí, Stefan corta árboles en África. Y a pesar de eso, como se puede ver claramente en el vídeo, Stefan no es una mala persona. Mi opinión sobre la tala de árboles cambiará en las próximas semanas cuando vaya a visitar los gorilas. Y es que, como digo, para todo hay algo que aplica siempre, y es, en todo debe haber un equilibrio. A pesar de que esta mañana llovió de lo lindo, está todo bastante sequito, es lo que digo yo. Aquí, igual que llueve muchísimo, cuando seca también seca muchísimo. Pues después de 2 semanas en Yaoundé, la capital de Camerún, el viaje debe de continuar. He estado un par de semanitas por aquí terminando unos vídeos que tenía que hacer y haciendo los últimos visados que necesitaba para continuar el viaje. Inicialmente la idea era hacer Gabón, Congo, República Democrática del Congo, pero al final, después de darle muchas vueltas, nos saltamos Gabón y vamos directamente a Congo, República Democrática de Congo y por fin Angola. Tengo unas ganas locas de llegar a Angola. El sur de Camerún ya me anticipa lo que voy a encontrar en Congo, y es mucho verde. Toda esta área, que es la frontera entre Camerún, Gabón y Congo, es donde viven las tribus de los pigmeos, que son estas personas que son tan bajitas. Quería ir a visitar alguna de estas tribus, pero después de tanta parada de la policía se me echó el día encima. I will show you everything. I will show you everything, don't worry. My clothes, my underwear. Medicine. My tent. Al final he aprendido que entrar en largas discusiones no me sirve de nada, solo de perder tiempo. Así que empiezo a enseñarle absolutamente todo para volar lo antes posible. Ha llegado el momento de volver a usar la cantimplora, porque ya me he encontrado 2 gasolineras sin gasolina y en Congo me han dicho que voy a tener el mismo problema, así que más vale prevenir que curar. No. En este caso se estaba equivocando a mi favor.
4641.
Pero es que no me gusta pagar ni de más ni de menos. Me gusta pagar lo que corresponda.
¿Sabón?
Me acerco a una frontera y esta vez no quiero que vuelva a pasarme lo que me pasó en la frontera Nigeria-Camerún. Voy a hacerme con provisiones, voy a comprar bastante agua para estar lo más preparado posible.
A continuo. Merci beaucoup. Bye bye. Bye bye.
A full de gasolina, provisiones, agua, ya solo me queda encontrar dónde dormir esta noche.
Insurance, passport, driver license, and document of the motor. Documentation. My document, motor, document, driver, insurance.
Bueno, ya de camino para Congo. Hoy toca camping, después de un montón de tiempo sin hacer camping, y la verdad es que me apetecía mucho. Pero como estamos con las lluvias a tope, he visto esta obra y he parado aquí, he pedido permiso y me han dicho que sí. Que suba arriba, que ponga la tienda arriba, que hay sitio de sobra. Te enseño la casita. Bueno, aquí buscaremos algún hueco donde poner la tienda. Algo encontraremos. Mira, aquí está perfecto. Este es el sitio.
Todas las visas listas y en marcha dirección Congo. En el próximo capítulo veremos la frontera entre Camerún y Congo. Como siempre os digo, si habéis llegado hasta aquí, muchísimas gracias por ver el vídeo. Nos vemos en el siguiente.